guys, was the Mustang's Blue Guy S1 back to Forza Horizon 3 was a bit of an investigation. Now, the Carrera GT is back in Forza. It's been there for a little while, but I haven't done a video on it, and, well, I was curious to see which manufacturer has evolved the most from their late 1990s, early 2000s cars, all the way up to the Holy Trinity, the Ferrari, McLaren P1, and Porsche 918. So, I want to see the split time difference between the Ferrari Enzo and the LaFerrari, the Carrera GT and the 918, and the McLaren F1 and the McLaren P1. And whichever manufacturer had the biggest jump in time would be the victor. Now, yes, I do understand that the smaller the time jump, the better the older vehicle is, but we're not focusing on the specific vehicle times. We're focusing in on which manufacturer has made the most progress in the performance industry, alright? So, yeah, well, I bought an Enzo because I didn't have one, and I bought a McLaren F1 because I didn't have one, and I went off and did a little hot lapping with the vehicles. Okay, so the first vehicle that I used was the Ferrari Enzo. A nice way to spend a couple of $1 million on a car. Yeah, I didn't realize just how much this car cost when I went out to buy it. But I think it is worth it, what, $2.2 or $2.1 million? I forget what it is that it costs to spend, that it costs on this car. But, yeah, it's a very, very nice car to drive. Given the fact that it's rear-wheel drive and has 650 horsepower, it doesn't get much wheel spin around the corners, and it's a very nice car to drive. It's fast, it has good brakes, does have a dynamic wing, which is nice. Every vehicle here has some form of a dynamic wing. Even the McLaren, I think, has a dynamic wing. It's like a little plate on the back that lifts up. So, even, I think every single vehicle here had a dynamic wing. Which is interesting given the almost 20-year difference on some of these cars. And I chose this track because most tracks in Horizon 3 are speed biased, but this one, yes, you need speed, but it's a more handling-based circuit. So it'll really challenge the vehicles. And yeah, the Ferrari Enzo did not disappoint and carry a lot of speed around the corners. And, well, next up was the Carrera GT. And it's a little bit more wheel spinny. Spins the wheels quite a bit more than the Enzo. It's a lot easier to get sliding around. It has similar power figures. And I don't know the size of the rear tires. I don't remember them. But it's pretty big. Once again, it has a tabletop for a wing, not just a little lip spoiler that moves. This has a proper wing, which is nice. And I must say, I'm torn. I like the back end of the Carrera a lot more than I like the back end on the Enzo. But the Enzo's front end is a lot better than the Porsche's, so kind of conflict on which car is better. But this vehicle is, once you get the hang of it, when I was driving this vehicle, it was very easy to slide around like that. However, once I got the hang of it, and figured out what I could and could not do with the throttle, it really wasn't too difficult to drive until you got into grass, and, well, grass is never a good thing. It causes all sorts of problems for your car, like hitting a wall and generally sliding around. Yeah. Luckily, my third lap was a pretty darn good one, if I do say so myself. Now, the McLaren F1, the second most powerful car here. It is 22 horsepower more than the Carrera GT that has 605 horsepower. And, well, you can see the plate on the back that I was talking about earlier. I thought that was dynamic. I don't know why it was, why I thought it was. But, I don't know. Anyway, it's a pretty nice car to drive. It's not that fast, I will be honest. It is the lowest PI car here. Yeah, you see it is dynamic. It is. You just have to go real slow in order for it to be realized. So, or real fast, one of the two. Anyway, it's pretty nice to drive. It's not very fast, though. The acceleration just isn't up to task with the rest of it. Sure, it's faster than both of them, but, 243 miles an hour and all. However, it can't quite reach that speed on this track. And that means its acceleration is not very good, and its traction is also not very good. When compared to the Enzo, which was phenomenal to drive, and the Carrera, which once you got the hang of it was phenomenal to drive, this, as shown by that, I know that was partly my fault because I ran wide, but you could get away with that. You could get away with running that far in with the Carrera and the Enzo, but you can't quite do it with this. It's just not, how can I say, it's not quite up to par with the rest of the field. Now, the LaFerrari, another very nice to drive car. However, it's a little bit faster than the Enzo. And by a little bit, I mean monumentally faster. I will show the times at the end of the McLaren P1, so you can see the split difference between the two. Between the vehicles, sorry. So, and then we can crown our victor, but we'll get to that later on. Let's start with the vehicles. And this car is monumentally fast. It is just mental how quick this car is around a track. And let's be frank, all these vehicles are phenomenal on the track, but this one is just so easy to drive, and it's just so fast, and the brakes are so good. Yeah, it is a true hypercar. Now, the 918, the Nuremberg lap record holder for 3 years. Very, very easy to drive. It is 4-wheel drive, the only 4-wheel drive car in this video, and I love the 918. It's, out of the three, probably my favorite. It is the most common one that I've seen. I know I say now since Larry it's a 918. I've seen 2 Porsche 918s. One LaFerrari and 0 McLaren P1s. I've yet to see a single McLaren P1. But there is a Cars and Coffee coming up, thanks to Car and Driver. So maybe I'll see one there. I don't know. I've never actually been one of those. Just know they have quite nice cars there. So who knows? Anyway, back to the 918. Yeah, as you can see here, very nice to drive. Very, very nice to drive around this circuit. It doesn't have the 4-wheel drive understeer that some vehicles have. It is a good V8, sounds incredible. And thanks to that hybrid electric power, it can get out of these corners incredibly fast thanks to that electric engine. And once the gas engine kicks in, then you put all of its power down, all 887 horsepower, and yeah, the Porsche, once I said it was not with the Ferrari, and well, this is the exact same. The Porsche is a truly phenomenal piece of engineering. Okay, the McLaren P1. The only car of this group to be featured in a movie. The Need for Speed movie had a McLaren P1 that met a rather unfortunate end in a mountainside. So, yeah. However, this vehicle is the fastest in a straight line of the 3 of them. I believe this goes over 230 miles an hour stop, which is a lot faster than the Porsche, that's for sure. The Porsche goes like 218 and then maxes out. But this thing does not let up. Yes, it is rear-wheel drive, but it is truly nice. It's very quick. Is it the easiest to drive? No. And I do not completely understand the snowboard wing on the back. It looks like a snowboard. I'm sorry, it does. Looks like a snowboard with a little dent in the middle of it. But it's still a very capable car. You see 183 miles an hour, I believe, from there. Wasn't necessarily paying attention, focusing on where I was going to brake. But, yeah, the McLaren P1, very fast, and also extremely capable around this course. And on to the times, with a 51.351, the McLaren F1 will go into third place. Second place will go to the Carrera GT with a 50.817, and the Enzo will round it out in first place with a 50.117. Pretty good lap times given they're 10, almost 20 years old now. The McLaren's even older, it's 24 years old? Yeah, 24 years old. Almost hit 25. Very old car. It is it is over a second down on the Enzo, but still pretty capable. And then comes the real interesting part. All three of the new hypercars are separated by about a tenth of a second, with the Porsche 918 coming home in first place with a 43.747, and just 3/100ths of a second later is the McLaren P1 with a 43.777. And rounding out the top three is the Ferrari with a 43.877, which means the top three, from first place to third place for the Holy Trinity, is separated by a tenth of a second. For vastly different powers, four-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, 963 horsepower, 887 horsepower, hybrid engines, gas engines, all of the variables, they somehow ended up being that close, which is mighty, mighty impressive. However, our victor will be McLaren with a split time of 7.57 seconds. That is quite a margin to make up. So, props to McLaren for being able to find that much time in 20-odd years. Second place, though, will go to Porsche with a split time of 7.0 seconds. 7.07 seconds, sorry. Yeah, the Carrera GT was a pretty darn good car from the get-go, and it was, yeah, just even more impressive when the 918 came out. Let's just say there's a reason it held the Nuremberg lap record for 3 years. Mighty impressive car that one is. And finally, in third place, we have Ferrari. I say immediately, it only improved by 6.24 seconds, which is still a lot that it improved by, but that does make it the least evolved company, and McLaren will take victory. Props to McLaren for going from the worst car of the older trilogy to one of the best vehicles in the Holy Trinity. So, yeah, pretty interesting how that worked out. Very, very close in the lap times. I was amazed on just how close they were. But that is it for this episode of Forza Horizon 3. Back with more